Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today. Whether you're a budding engineer or just someone who's super curious about how technology actually interacts with our physical reality, you're in exactly the right place. Today we're unpacking the foundational building blocks of modern electronics. We're talking about the unsung heroes hidden inside literally everything, from that smartphone sitting in your pocket right now to the massive industrial robots building our cars.
To kick things off, I want you to think about this for a second. How do machines actually sense the physical world? We humans have eyes, ears, touch. We feel our environment. But how does a completely abstract physical change, like a sudden drop in ambient temperature or a shift in atmospheric pressure, actually become concrete, measurable data that a machine can understand and act on?
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the senses of machines, introduce the translator, and then have a little showdown between sensors and transducers. After that, we'll break down active versus passive power, check out some real-world applications, and finally wrap things up with smart transducers. Let's go.
Section 1. The senses of machines. To really understand electronics, we first need to meet the ultimate observers of the mechanical world, the sensors.
So what exactly is a sensor? By definition, it's a device that measures a physical quantity and converts it into a signal, usually an electrical one. Think of it like this. It's a device that receives a stimulus from the real world, like heat from a stove, light from the sun, or even just the pressure from your footstep, and it immediately outputs a readable electrical signal, a signal that an instrument or an observer can actually process and understand.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly the simple water system visualizes the whole concept. The observer here is essentially acting as the sensor. They're constantly watching the physical change in the liquid's volume to trigger a response, like adjusting a valve so the tank doesn't overflow. It's taking a physical property, the rising water, and turning it into actionable, practical information.
Section 2. The translator. But here's the thing. Sensors rarely work totally alone in a vacuum. We need to introduce their highly related partner, the transducer.
While sensors specifically detect and output an electrical signal, transducers are the essential translators of energy. A transducer is a device that converts one primary form of energy, say mechanical, thermal, or optical energy, into a corresponding signal with a completely different energy form. They are doing the heavy lifting of energy conversion. For example, a transducer is the thing that takes the intense physical heat of a fire and transforms that thermal energy into a corresponding electrical voltage. If we map this out, it's pretty clear exactly where the primary transducer sits in the data pipeline. Energy starts out in the real world, over on the left, in one specific form. It then interacts with a transducer, which changes its energy state. This newly translated energy is what allows a sensor to actually detect it. Finally, the sensor feeds that measurable signal right into an intelligent feedback system or an actuator over on the right. So it is a continuous, unbroken pipeline of information flowing from the physical realm straight into the digital one.
Section 3. Sensors versus transducers. Now, if you are feeling a little bit confused about the exact difference between these two right now, don't worry, you are definitely not alone. It is a super common mix-up. So let's do a direct showdown. Looking at this clear side-by-side comparison, the distinction really comes into focus. A sensor specifically converts received physical signals into an electrical form only. A transducer, on the other hand, has a much broader job description. It converts any one form of energy into any other form, period. So the absolutely crucial point here is this golden rule. Technically, all sensors are transducers. Why? Because they convert energy into an electrical format. However, not all transducers are sensors. For example, a transducer might convert electricity into physical movement, like an electric motor spinning a fan blade. That motor is absolutely a transducer. It's converting electrical energy to kinetic energy, but it isn't sensing anything at all in the environment. Section 4. Active versus passive transducers. Let's head down into the engine room and figure out how these vital components are actually powered in the real world. Simply put, we have two main categories, and it's based entirely on their power requirements. Active transducers generate their own power. They're totally independent. No batteries or external power lines needed. Passive transducers, on the other hand, are externally powered. They need an outside electrical boost just to do their job. Let's look a bit closer at the active ones first. Because they draw energy directly from the source they are measuring, they require zero external power. That's a huge plus.
It makes their design incredibly simple, highly economical, and super cheap to manufacture. A classic example is a thermocouple measuring heat. But there is a trade-off here. Their output signal is very low power, meaning it usually requires an external amplifier just to read the data, and they are typically stuck with a low, fixed resolution.
Contrasting that, we have our passive transducers. First off, these absolutely require an external power source to operate. Instead of generating their own voltage, they output changes in passive electrical parameters, like resistance or capacitance. Because of this extra power requirement, their design is naturally way more complex, and yeah, they are definitely more expensive. But the major advantage here is sheer precision. They offer high, adjustable resolution, and they are incredibly sensitive to even the most microscopic environmental changes. Think of a high-end thermistor tracking tiny temperature shifts in a science lab.
Section 5, Real-World Applications. All right, let's move on and see how this all builds together. It's time to transition from the theory to how these components actually bring the everyday objects around you to life.
Let's walk through this. An everyday microphone brilliantly illustrates how an electroacoustic transducer works. First, your voice creates sound, which is really just air pressure. Second, that pressure physically pushes a tiny, delicate conductor or coil inside the microphone. Third, that physical motion generates a concentrated magnetic field. And finally, that magnetic field produces the electrical signal that travels right into your computer. It's just a perfect step-by-step chain of energy conversion. And you literally interact with these incredible little devices constantly. Think about those touch-sensitive elevator buttons you press. Yep, tactile sensors. Or what about those bedside lamps that dim or brighten just by you tapping the metal base? Those are sensors too. Even the classic mercury in glass thermometer is a sensor, cleverly converting ambient room temperature into the physical expansion of a liquid. And in modern manufacturing, proximity sensors are what ensure huge industrial robots know exactly when an object, or worse, a human worker, is getting too close for comfort.
Scaling up to industrial settings, sensors are the absolute backbone of closed-loop control systems. If you look at the measuring feedback loop here, after a process is controlled, the sensor reads the output, senses the physical quantities, and feeds that vital data right back to the input stage. This constant monitoring and adjusting is exactly what keeps an entire automated factory perfectly balanced and running smoothly, preventing massive errors. And in the incredibly fast-paced world of robotics, sensors essentially give machines the gift of sight. Take this mobile robot, for example, utilizing a basic light sensor. Because light is detectable from a distance, this sensor allows the robot to spot a lamp from several meters away and autonomously make navigation decisions. It decides whether to move towards the light or deliberately steer away into a darker corner. This is absolutely crucial tech because it bridges the gap between raw, dumb hardware and truly autonomous artificial intelligence. Section 6, Smart Transducers. Let's look toward the horizon and explore how microcontrollers are completely revolutionizing these standard components. So a smart transducer essentially takes a classical sensor and combines it directly with a processing unit and a communication interface. By slapping an embedded microcontroller onto these things, they suddenly become highly intelligent. First off, they can perform self-diagnostics to see if they're broken or drifting out of calibration. Second, they can literally self-adapt to changing environments. They can even decide on their own when to go into sleep mode to drastically save power or figure out exactly when it's the optimal time to dump their stored data onto a larger network. It is a real game changer.
It really makes you wonder about the limitless future of this technology. We started with basic physical energy conversions, and now our smallest components are making their own complex digital decisions. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. As our machines become entirely self-diagnosing and fully autonomous, what new senses will we need to translate for them next? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Stay curious, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.